I'm Adele Harty, SDSU Extension cow-calf field specialist, and today I am here with Patrick Linell with CattleFax. And this morning at Range Beef Cow, you talked about market outlook and prices, and you had a lot of good information for producers. And I think some of it's a little bit challenging, but then I think there's some positive things. So can you kind of summarize what you talked about today?
Yeah, absolutely. And a few key points, from our message this morning. Cattle supplies are decreasing. The cow herd has liquidated for several years, and obviously the drought conditions have been really impactful, pretty awful conditions for some folks, and that's likely added about one more year of liquidation. So we are heading into tighter cattle supply numbers. And on the other side of that, we are increasing packing capacity at the same time and regaining some efficiencies from those plant challenges that we've seen. So it should become a more balanced environment where cattle should have room to move up in terms of price because of that. And also we're seeing continued really strong demand, especially for the high quality beef product that we're producing more and more of.
That's exciting. I like that.
And global demand is great as well. Exports on pace to be up 20% this year.
Okay. Very good. So what does the inflation picture look like, and how does that impact us in the cattle industry? Because I think that's really important as well.
Absolutely, and the inflation environment, with the 6.2% increase in October, it's pretty significant across the board, and so producers should be expecting higher costs, both on the feed grain side of things, but then also just living expenses and energy would be a couple major ones that folks will need to try to keep in line as much as they can.
Right. So at the end, you talked about some marketing considerations, things that producers can think about to kind of help themselves in the future. So Can you talk a little bit about what you highlighted there?
Yeah, there are a couple key points that I discussed. The first one would be I know it's awful tough, and a lot of producers are limited in their ability to retain or even expand because of the drought. Yeah. But if you can, that would be our suggestion, to just be able to have more calves to sell as we move into a higher price environment over the next few years. Yeah. Because we certainly expect that as we do start seeing higher calf prices, female prices will be higher as well. So if you want to expand later, it would be at a higher price point for those females.
Yep, which is important, and got to take into consideration all of those factors. So you also talked briefly on risk management tools.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, in the price environment that we're heading into with higher prices, it's important to try to balance that need to manage risk and uncertainty. Who knows what the next black swan event might be. Some great tools, at this point in the cattle cycle where prices are trending higher, options are a great tool for people that use futures and options. And then also LRP, Livestock Risk Protection Insurance, really great product, and the increased subsidies that we've seen with those programs really make them make sense, especially for a smaller producer that's just doesn't have the size and scale to utilize futures and options.
Yeah, no, it is a great tool. I've actually used it as a producer myself, so
there you
very
go.
good. So
yeah,
well,
and a couple other thoughts is looking to extend ownership into higher price levels. As the prices trend higher over the next few years, whether that's through the backgrounding phase or through the finishing yard, there should be some more opportunities for folks that want to retain ownership farther through the supply chain.
Yeah, I think it's really critical that producers really evaluate their situation and adapt and try to move with whatever's going to work best for their operation. So.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because it really isn't a one-size-fits-all, and what works for your neighbor may or may not work for you. Yep. But it's important to consider your options.
Yes.
And how they may be changing.
Yes, the industry has changed tremendously over the last few years, and so being adaptable is going to be key to that.
Absolutely.
And staying in the industry. So, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for visiting with me for a few minutes, and we'll look forward to hearing more in the future.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Thanks.